Hey guys, a few of you have written me and asked me to do a video about doing track days, so this is it. I want to cover two broad topics in this video. First, getting ready for a track day, and two, some guidelines when you're actually on the track that will hopefully keep you out of trouble. As far as the mechanical side of getting ready, the most important thing when you're getting ready to do a track day is to make sure you have a good set of tires on your motorcycle. When you're out there canyon carving, riding around on the street with your friends, the street tires are okay, but once you get to the track and you really start to push the performance of the motorcycle, you need a good set of rubber, better than what you have on the street. You can find a lot of information online from the various tire manufacturers like Michelin, Pirelli, and Dunlop. I'll have the links to their websites in this video. And Michelin and Dunlop will actually give you a lot of advice as far as what air pressures to run, because those are really important. In addition to getting a good tire on there, you want to make sure you have the correct air pressure, and it varies from manufacturer to manufacturer and from tire to tire. So they'll give you guidelines for what tire pressures to run, and also in Dunlop, in Michelin's case, they'll actually give you recommendations for what compounds based on the nature of the track, or in Dunlop's case, they have a matrix of what compounds work well at each specific track. So I'll have that information in the links on this video. I looked at Pirelli's website. Unfortunately, they didn't have any workable links for air pressures and tire compounds. It's not to say that they're a bad tire manufacturer, they just didn't have the information out there. The second most important thing, I think, is tire warmers. A lot of guys get caught out when they're doing their track days on the first couple of laps of each session. They want to pick up exactly where they left off, but unfortunately you can't do that when the tire's been sitting there for 40 minutes cooling off. So I think that's a really good investment as well. The third and most important thing is to make sure that you understand whether the track day organization you're running with requires you a safety while you're on a motorcycle or not. It varies from organization to organization, so when you're registering for your track day, go ahead and give them a call and ask what they want you to do. The fourth thing is taping the headlights. Assuming this is going to be your first track day, you're going to have to run the stock body work more than likely, and that means they're going to require you to tape up your headlights, your taillights, your turn signals, and your mirrors. Now I recommend taking as much of that stuff off as possible, but naturally the headlight is going to be a little bit of a problem because it creates a big gap in the fairing that's hard to fill if you don't have aftermarket bodywork. So tape it up, and then once you've got it taped up, make sure you don't leave the light on. Disconnect the headlight or the tail light, because if you're riding out there all day, the heat from the lamp will actually bake the adhesive onto either the plastic or the glass, and then it's a nightmare to get off. The fifth thing, investing in some crash protection. Invariably, accidents happen, and when they do, you want to minimize the damage. Now, most people are familiar with frame sliders. They're a good idea. Just be careful, because sometimes frame sliders can catch on surfaces or curbs or in the dirt and actually send the bike flipping, which does more damage than just sliding along. So use your head and see how it works on your motorcycle. If it sticks out awkwardly, probably not a good idea. The second thing are case savers. I love case savers. They do the trick of keeping the fluids in the motorcycle exactly like they're supposed to. And they also ride close enough to the cases that they don't have a chance of catching and sending the bike tumbling. So I actually prefer those over frame sliders. And the third thing for crash protection that most people don't think about is aftermarket rear sets. Most street motorcycles come with foldable foot pegs, and when you're on the track and you low side, they just give way and immediately the bike's on its side, and either the tailpipe or the bodywork is getting ground down. If you have aftermarket rear sets, not only will they help you as far as the ergonomics of the bike, but they can actually take some of the beating and the abuse of a crash before the other hard parts of the bike come in contact with the ground. The sixth thing is you want to make sure that you bring extra fuel. I found out the hard way when I did my first track day that the fuel consumption at the track is a lot more than on the street. So make sure you bring an extra can of gasoline, and yeah, bring an extra can. You're going to need it. The seventh is bring a chair, like a nice little folding lawn chair kind of thing, and if possible, bring a canopy. You're going to be out there, hopefully the weather's nice, which means the sun's out. You're going to be out there, and you're going to get cooked by the sun if you don't have any shade to take refuge in. So at least bring a chair, and if possible, bring a canopy so that way you can rest between sessions. As far as personal preparation goes, you want to make sure that you have good gear on you. And if you're not familiar at all with what good road racing gear looks like, I have some of my stuff here. Like, for example, you're going to want at least mid-calf boots like these right here. This is what most track day organizations want you to wear. You also want to make sure that you're wearing some gauntlet style gloves like these. See, they have knuckle protectors and stuff like that. And then finally, well, not finally, but almost finally, make sure that you have a nice newer helmet that's a closed face model. I'm not sure if they'll let you get away with wearing one of the flip open models. I personally wouldn't trust it. If I'm doing a face plant at 100+ miles an hour, I want this to be a one-piece construction. So it's up to you and the track day organization, depending on what they let you run. And obviously, you either want to have a one-piece or a two-piece leather racing suit. And then the night before, you want to make sure that you get a lot of rest, because most track days, the first sessions are around 9 o'clock or so. The riders' meetings maybe a half an hour to an hour before that, and you got to figure in time for getting there and unloading the bike. So your day is going to start off pretty early. And if you're planning on driving there, that means you're going to want to go to sleep real early the night before. Another option is, if the track will allow it, call them and see if they'll let people camp overnight before the track day. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Just give them a call and see if that works better with your schedule. Now, once you're actually on the track, loading the bike up, you want to try to bring the motorcycle in a truck or a trailer if you have access to those, just in case you do end up crashing. You're not stuck at the track with no way to get home. So try to find a truck or a trailer. And along with that, try to find a friend that wants to do a track day with you, because it's always good to have a riding buddy that can keep you company, or at least a friend that will go there and help you if something mechanical happens, something gets loose at the last second, you need to make some mechanical adjustments or fix some things. It's always good to have somebody there to help you. Third thing, once you're at the track, is just be relaxed. If you're doing the track day, you're obviously doing a lot more right than you are wrong as a rider. So just do what you normally do, have fun, don't put too much pressure on yourself. And this is what a typical itinerary looks like for a track day. Like I said, they usually start around 9 p.m. will be the first session. Depending on the organization, sometimes they run beginner or novice, intermediate, and advanced or expert. Sometimes they do intermediate first and novice in the middle and expert. It all depends, so pay attention when they discuss those things in the riders meeting. You don't want to miss your session. And generally during 1 hour period, you'll have 3 sessions. Each group, novice, intermediate, and expert, gets about 20 minutes on the track. Then you pull in and let the next group go. Now usually you get 3 sessions in the morning, and that'll take you to about noon, 12 o'clock, and you usually have about an hour break for lunch. And then in the afternoon, depending on the organization and how long they're running or how much daylight you have left, they'll usually do another 3 or 4 sessions in the afternoon. And when you're out there riding, obviously the purpose of a track day is to develop your skills as a motorcycle rider. But you don't want to go out there and try to set a lap record your first time out. That's not really what a track day is about. You want to be able to, if this is like riding where you're just hanging on to the motorcycle and you're just reacting to what it's doing, and this is like complete snooze fest, everything's under control, you want to find that happy medium in between. So yeah, that's how I like to conceptualize it. Hopefully that helps you. Just think of it as being engaged but in control at the same time. You're challenging yourself, but you're not out of control. And then another tip is, if you're running in your group and you end up being slowed down by somebody, but you can't quite make the pass, maybe they're squaring up the corner, or they have a bigger displacement bike or a bike with more work done to it and it just shoots out of corners, it's geared, whatever. Don't get frustrated, don't ride angry. Take advantage of the fact that a track day is not a race. You don't have to ride up that guy's tailpipe. You can pull into the pits and just give a gap and find your nice little happy place on the track where you're going to be out there riding with people that either don't interfere with your lines or just where you're out by yourself. Or you can also, obviously you want to make sure that nobody's coming up behind you, and you want to kind of get off the racing line on the straightaway, but you can also roll off the gas a little bit on the straightaway and give that guy a little bit of a gap, so that way you're not constantly running up the backside. And that's pretty much most of the stuff about once you're on the track. when you're actually done with your track day, hopefully you had a lot of fun, you learned, you developed a lot, and progressed as a rider. I found that track days mentally and physically drain me. So on the ride home, it's always a good idea to have like an energy drink or sugar or something along those lines to keep you up. That way you're not nodding off at the wheel. And along with that, the diet stuff, as far as getting prepared before the track day, or rather during the track day, what I like to do is I like to drink a lot of water to stay hydrated because it tends to get really hot. And I try to eat simple carbs throughout the day. That way I have a nice even flow of energy, and it's not like I'm amped up and then I crash and I can't concentrate and I'm riding sloppy. You don't want that. You just want to keep things at a nice even pace as far as energy levels go. So it's pretty much everything I think I had to cover. I hope that helped you guys out. And yeah, I want to say a quick thank you to Ruben Frankenfield from 35 Motorsports. A lot of the information that I'm passing on to you guys, I've actually picked up from him this season when doing track days. So big thanks to Ruben, and hope you guys get out there and have some fun. Alright, kick butt. Bye.